guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in today. Today we're going to be doing the All About My Eyeshadow Palettes tag. This tag video was created by Allie and Samantha March here on YouTube. I thought it would be nice to give my take on this tag video and give you a little glimpse into some of the eyeshadow palettes in my collection. I will try and link Allie's and Samantha's channels in the description box below. I'm pretty sure you all are well aware of who they are, but just in case you aren't, I will link their channels in the description box below, so definitely check out their videos. So let's go ahead and get on into this video. The first category is my newest palette. These I just got in yesterday, so these would be the newest palettes in my collection. I ordered these probably about 2 months ago, but with everything going on and with the delays in shipping, and I know ColourPop's warehouse was shut down for a while, but they are finally shipping again. So I have here the Baby Got Peach palette and the Going Coconuts palette. I haven't had a chance yet to use the Baby Got Peach. Here's a look at the Going Coconuts. And I will swatch a couple of these for you here. Super pretty. And then here is a look at the Baby Got Peach palette. This palette I think is going to be perfect for summer. And then here's a couple swatches of that one. Those look really nice. Okay, so our second category is the oldest palette in my collection. And I am surprised that I still had this. This is the Almay Intense Eye Color Powder Shadow in Trio for Greens. So this little trio was made to complement green eyes, and as you can see, I got a lot of use out of this palette. This is very old, I don't use it anymore, but I definitely hang on to it to show the progression of my makeup usage. So our next category is going to be my most expensive palette, and to some, this may not be that expensive. I don't have any of the Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath palettes in my collection yet. Those are pretty pricey, but right now my most expensive palette is the Huda Beauty New Nudes eyeshadow palette. That's what she looks like. This palette I love so much because all of these shades are shades that I love to wear. I love the pinky rosy tones. These berries here, the shimmers are beautiful. I use this a lot on special occasions. I'll swatch a couple here for you. I do get quite a bit of use out of this palette, and it is one that I'm glad I added to my collection. Next up is my most affordable palette, and that would be my Wet n Wild eyeshadow quads. Here I have Silent Treatment, Walking on Eggshells, and I also have this Purple Violet palette. I tore the sticker off and it doesn't say on the back, so I can't remember the name of this one, but I have that one as well. These are $2.68. A lot of people have been talking about the new e.l.f. quads, the bite-sized quads that just came out. Those are $3, which are very affordable as well, but these actually are a little bit cheaper than those. Next, we're going to look at my everyday palette. This is going to be different for everybody depending on your makeup style and your makeup preference. But for me, it is my Tati Beauty palette. You can see it's well loved here. Here's a look at the inside. It is pretty beat up. I think one of the little humans in my house got a hold of it. I love all of these shades, of course. I love these berry pink tones. These are good for every day, for going to work, running errands, going to the grocery store. And then you have some of these deeper shades that you can use to deepen things up and add a little depth to your look, which is really nice to have. I like this palette because it has everything I need in one. So the next is going to be my most colorful palette. This is going to be quite a bit different than my everyday palette. I don't wear colorful shades every day, but I do like to have the option to wear them. So that is my James Charles Artistry palette from Morphe. You can see here you have every shade, combination, color you can think of. And then you also have some neutrals here to do an everyday look, darker shades to add depth and dimension, and then quite a few pops of color there. This palette has not got nearly enough use in my collection, and I'm hoping to get some more use out of it this summer. Next is going to be my smallest palette, and this one I have had for quite a while too. It is this tiny little e.l.f. quad in the shade Luxe. I'm not even sure if they still make these anymore. Here's a look at it. This is definitely the smallest in my collection. So you can see how small it is here, trying to swatch these shades for you. The pigmentation isn't great, and I don't think that that's really any fault of the eyeshadows. This is just really old, so it's probably pretty expired. I haven't used it in quite a long time. But stay tuned because there will be an eyeshadow declutter coming soon. So if you can guess, next is going to be my biggest eyeshadow palette, and that's going to go back to the Morphe and James Charles palette, this guy here. This is, again, definitely my largest palette. I have to store this palette separate from my other palettes because he doesn't fit with the rest of them, so he has a special spot. So next we're going to talk about my palette with the best memory. And that would have to be my Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. My husband surprised me at work one day with this palette. He had gone to Ulta by himself. He knew that I had been wanting this palette, and so he went there, picked it out for me, and brought it to me and surprised me at work. Now I'm going to show this to you, but it is quite tragic because, again, one of the little humans in my house got a hold of it and had to dig into every single shade. I still use this palette. Someday I may buy a new one that's not all dug into, but I will always keep this palette in my collection because it is so special to me. Here's a couple of swatches. I just love all the shades in this palette. They're perfect for every day. It really is special to me. So these next two categories were probably the most difficult for me to figure out in my collection, but first we're going to talk about the palette that was worth the hype. So I chose the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. That's what the outside looks like. And then here's a look at the inside. You can kind of tell the shades that I gravitate towards. These peachy coral shades are great. They are perfect for spring and summer. There's a couple swatches of those. And I know that this palette was hyped up on YouTube, Instagram quite a bit, and for good reason. The quality is great, the shade selection is great, and I don't think you can go wrong with this palette at all. So this next one is going to be a palette that was not worth the hype. And I know this might be an unpopular opinion, and I could be the only one that thinks so, but for me, it was the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill collab. This one is in Bling Boss. This is the only one I bought from that collection that she did with Morphe. The shade selection is beautiful. The mattes are really nice. Where this palette fell short for me was in their shimmers. For me, the shimmers weren't as intense as I would like. The mattes were great, but you can even see there in that swatch, the shimmers just didn't have enough punch that I prefer my shimmers to have. I know that you can use a wet brush and intensify the shimmers a little bit more, but for every day, for me, that's not a step that I like to take. So this, unfortunately, just fell a little short for me. So this next one was another difficult one for me because it is a favorite palette from a favorite brand. And when I first started thinking about it, I immediately went to e.l.f. because e.l.f. is a go-to brand for me. They're super affordable. They have great quality in their products. But the more I thought about it, the more I started leaning more towards Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild has consistently kept their prices low, where e.l.f. has kind of crept up over the years. If you have been using e.l.f. products or followed them for the past 10 years or so, you could be able to see the increase in their prices. But Wet n Wild has consistently kept their prices low. Very rarely do their prices go over $5. And then well, I should probably show you the palette and quit blabbing here. So I selected the Comfort Zone palette. This is the newer Comfort Zone palette. I also have the traditional Comfort Zone palette here as well. This one I don't use anymore because it is older and they don't make this one anymore. They have replaced it with this one. The quality is still great. The pigmentation is great. And these are right around $5. For the amount of shades you're getting and the quality you're getting, that's why I chose the Wet n Wild. So our final category is my most used eyeshadow palette. And this has probably been true for a lot of people doing this video. And that is the Modern Renaissance palette. You can see the felt on the outside is discolored. Probably has eyeshadow on it here. And then here is a look at the inside. You can see I have hit pan on a few of these shades here. Again, you can probably guess why this is my most used eyeshadow palette, because you have these everyday shades, and then I have the berries and pinks that I like. Darker shade to deepen things up and add dimension. I'll just swatch a few for you here. So I love this palette and I'm glad to have it in my collection. So that is going to wrap up this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share my videos. It helps me out so much. And then also, if you haven't already, check out Allie and Samantha's videos. Their channels will be linked in the description box below. Thanks again for tuning in today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.